Today I'm going to repair the Variac for the third time. If you go back a couple years in my videos, you'll see when I got this at Goodwill. It was originally painted black, and I completely rebuilt the thing. Put new cord, new wiring, polished up the brass, but it still has one main problem, and that it skips a section of the voltages. Here you can see voltage rising, and then it cuts off right about there. So what does that say there? About 40 volts. It just cuts off. And then where does it come back on? Right there. That says 90. So from 40 to 90, it's completely missing something in there. I'm not exactly sure what's causing this, but I think it has to do with the brush that rubs up against the coil. Maybe some paint got on part of the coil, or maybe it's bent, causing it to not make contact all the way. Now if I set it right in the dead space and press down on it, I can get it to work again. So I'm thinking that it's something isn't making complete contact. Maybe it got bent. I don't know. But let's take it apart and see what I can do. Alright, here's the inside. That's what connects to the knob there. You can see this is the coil down here. And there's the thing I was wondering. Get some light in here. Now what I was thinking is this thing here, this little brush that runs up against the top of this coil here, it's either not making contact. Well, it's definitely not making contact, but it's either lifting up too high, or maybe there's something on the coil like paint. And I don't really see any paint there. But how this works is it now each notch, or each winding of the coil, every time this lines up to a different winding of the coil, it adds a little, or takes away a little voltage. What it is you have a coil. How this works is you have two coils with the same number of windings lined up, and then the outer coil has a selector. Now if you want a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning 100 volts in, 100 volts out, or 120 in, 120 out, you want to have an equal number of windings on the primary and secondary coils. Now what this does here is allow you to select how many windings there are, so that way you can select let's say half on the secondary to get half the voltage. 120 volts on 100 windings is going to come out to 60 volts on 50 windings. And that's pretty much how it works. You can go the opposite direction too. Let's say you have 100 windings on the primary and 1,000 on the secondary, and that's a 1-to-10 ratio. So if you put in 100 volts, you would get out 1,000 volts, and it can go on forever. If you make a coil big enough, you can get some very high voltages. So here's the connection to, I think that would be the voltage coming in, and then if it's lined up right to that winding there, it should be a 1-to-1 ratio. This one goes up to 140 volts. That's what that little extra bit is for. But let's see what I can do about this brush here. What I'm going to try first, I took off this little tensioner here, and I cleaned the inside, scraped off the corrosion, coated it, lubricated it with this stuff here, TV controller, coated and lubricated the contacts with this stuff. Now I'm going to soak screwdriver wrapped with a piece of cloth and just scrub the inside of the coil there where that brush makes contact. Hopefully that'll work. Here's the dirt that came off the contacts. It took 3 pieces of cloth to get most of it. Next step I'm going to do, because I can hear it make contact there, and then when it goes to the when it goes to a dead spot, it's not rubbing. I'm thinking that this wheel here is bent a little bit. The shaft either got bent, maybe it was dropped, but I'm thinking all I need to do is loosen up these screws that's holding on this platter here, lower it down as far as it'll go, and tighten it up, and that way it should make better contact. I mean, that's what this whole tensioner is for anyway. So let's try that. Alright, so I had to completely disassemble this thing to make the adjustment, but it should all work now. What I had to do on the bottom side here, well, first let's start with the top. I took this off here, that came off, and then I pulled the shaft out, and then I moved this retaining ring about half a centimeter up, put it back together, and what that allowed it to do is create more tension. It pulls down further, so now it makes full contact. A little too well. Let's test it out. Okay, it's all put back together. Now let's try it out. Maybe how to turn it on. Oh. There we go. And am I getting the right voltage? Alright, 100 volts there, showing up as 100 volts there. Let's see, it's at 200 volts, showing up as 100 volts, that's good. That means I lined it up right. And all the way to the maximum. What would that be? 125, 130. Right on. It works. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.